This is 50ish and Fab. For women over 50 who are still becoming, still building, and definitely not done, even if life tried to convince you otherwise. This is where grown women come to tell the truth, take up space, and live out loud. I'm KC Sunshine, and around here, we're not winding down, we're leveling up. Welcome, my beautiful 50 plusins, goldies, to another episode of 50ish and Fab. It's your girl, Casey Sunshine, and I am your Southern sweet tea with a splash of Brooklyn. Oh, it's another beautiful day. I'm so happy to be back in the studio. I was recording from my home for a little minute. I had a little knee surgery, so things was happening, but I was still trying to be on my grind. However, I'm so glad to be back at the beautiful studios in downtown Brooklyn at Brick doing our thing, because recording in my living room was giving me like dungeon. I mean, I like my living room, but the shot had to be so close. I felt like people could see up my nose. So, hey, thank you, Brick. I'm glad to be back home again. And I am also so thrilled to have my fabulous producer doing his thing. One half of the fabulous duo from Brunch, Blaze, and Babble. One of my favorite podcasts. Y'all better check them out, y'all. Of course, wait. Show that to Roger and to Alexis for doing their thing. Those are my mentors and bringing me up in the game, y'all. So check them out too. I'm so happy to be here today. And today I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and it is family. Today's topic is We Are Family. Y'all remember that song by Sister Sledge? It's actually an ironic story because I met Sister Sledge in person. So, one of my very first concerts in Greensboro, North Carolina, was with this group for children. It was called Applied Youth Development, which was like the Boys and Girls Club, that type of organization that would take kids and show them different opportunities. So, one of the opportunities that we had was to meet Sister Sledge, attend their concert, which was Chic, a group called Foxy, and Sister Sledge. So this was one of my very first concerts. I don't remember how old I was, but I thought to myself, oh my God, these chicks are beautiful. I'm talking about big hair, high heels, leather, lace. Oh my God, they were incredible. And I guess I must have been maybe 9 or 10 because We Are Family came out in 1979. So I guess by the time I met them, I might have been 10 or 11. But it was absolutely one of the highlights of my youth and one of the very first concerts I ever attended. So shout out to Sister Sledge, hey, for making me some. We Are Family, because again, it's something that's near and dear to my heart. But what happens when keeping it real goes wrong with family? I want to talk about family and the importance of it, but I also want to talk about when things don't go so well and sometimes ish pop off. I will very politely use my family for an example in some of this story, but I won't throw them under the bus. The beauty of family is that when we get to a certain age, you are able to create your own family, right? We born with some and you kind of stuck with them for a while, whatever. But then God gives us the ability to create our own families. And I think that's the beautiful thing because it's not just about me and, whoever I was born, my sisters, brothers. No, 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 no. I can have children. I can have a husband. I can have a wife. I can have whatever it is that I want and be able to create my own branch of family from that. So I don't want to get too deep in it, but again, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. First thing I want to talk about is conflict, family disputes. Okay. I laugh because I have been thrown out of family members' house. I have had my CDs run over by family members. I have witnessed the bleaching of people's clothes. Like, family is just family. So I have to laugh because I am first partaker of this message. Mainly because at present, I don't think I'm speaking to anyone in my family. I ain't had nobody to go home to for Christmas because we ain't speaking. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me stay on task. Understanding family disputes. Family disputes can range from misunderstandings to deep-rooted issues. The first thing you need to do is acknowledge how conflict in midlife may feel different with the added stress of age and health than the other things that come with, being older. In other words, when you older, shit hits different. The ways you would approach conflict in a family. I know when I was younger, Oh my God, I was such a people pleaser. And one of my sisters, I won't say which, had this almost hypnotic power over me because she had the ability to not speak to you for a lengthy amount of time. And it would drive me nuts. How can you be in the house with somebody and not speak to them for days? It was just crazy to me. And I spent my entire youth trying to please her and to placate her and to do everything I could to make sure that I was on good terms with her. At some point, it became all consuming. So, as I became an adult, this relationship that I cherished so much with my sister, even though it was steeped in some toxicity that I held so dear, I began to see differently as I got older. I remember I said to a therapist one time, I was talking about my relationship with my sister and, her expectations of me, one of my sisters. You know how she was always hailed as the golden child in the family. And he said to me, well, do you think that you should have boundaries with your sister? And it was almost like he had slapped me. I was like, oh, why would I do that? Why would I have boundaries with someone that I love and care about so much? Okay, so when you have siblings, you spend a lot of time talking about their kids, right? Especially if you don't have any. One of my niece's nephews, I won't say which, grew up and was just very, very manipulative and very sneaky. In my relationship with my sister, I would always hear about how manipulative this child was. I witnessed this manipulation. And then I realized when I started to examine my relationship with my sister, I could see where the child got it from the mama because I had spent my whole life placating her and being used in these same manipulative ways. So when the therapist said to me, have you considered boundaries? It never crossed my mind that, yes, in fact, I should. And as I began to put those boundaries into place and decided that I will not be the pour all, the catch all, because when you are a single person without kids, people just dump all their shit on you. I mean, they will call you, talk your head off, not even asking you how you doing, but just because they think you got the time and the wherewithal, they will drop it all off on you. And then you left stuck with it. It's like, okay, I just listened to 72 minutes of that. What do I do with that? Because now she's clean, right? She just soiled me with her drama. One of the things that we have to do when we have conflict is to set healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with boundaries. I learned that the hard way. And it was really eye opening for me because as much as I love my family, I just realized that in some ways I have to step back in order to protect my peace. I have to live with me, and then there are those that love me and care for me that may not necessarily be blood, but they're just as close and they're just as much family as anyone else to me. So I think that have an understanding about what it is that you need in a healthy relationship and what those boundaries look like. Now, the first thing that you have to do when you have family conflict is you have to be realistic in the view because sometimes my thought life can take me all the way around the world and back again, and I wasn't even close to the mark. I'll give a story about something that happened with with my ex. So if you know anything about church in any borough, if you park on the street near a church on a Sunday, you're going to be stuck. Somebody going to double park you. You're going to be stuck on a Sunday here. So one Sunday, my ex and I were going somewhere, and he called me saying, oh, I'm double parked. This dude in a bright red Charger with double engine and all this got me blocked in. So I'm going to go to the church and have them give the plate number so the person can come out. So he went in the church, gave the plate number for whoever this dude was in this red Charger to come out and move his car. So he's sitting there 20, 30 minutes, and he is fuming. He's like, yo, when I see this dude, I'm going to bust him in his shit, right? Because he been sitting there waiting, can't go because he can't move, double park, can't get out. So he waits. I was like, babe, just relax. Just go back in the church and ask them to announce the plate again. So he's like, okay. He went back in the church, announced the plate again, and sat and waited for, for this dude to come out and move his car. So by this time, I mean, screaming bloody murder. He was like, yo, babe, get the bail money ready because I'm going to jail on him, son. I'm going to jail, babe. Get the bail money, right? He sits there, and he sat there about an hour waiting on this dude to come out of church. So he's sitting there on the phone. He was like, yo, he was like, I see people coming out. He's like, okay, so he got to be coming out in this group because it was a group of people. The church was over. So as he's sitting there waiting on this dude, he was like, yeah, he got brass knuckles. Like he ready to rumble. So he see an old lady on a walk. Grandma is rolling her walker to the red Charger with the double engine. All he can do is jump out and ask her, can he help her with the walker into the Charger that kept him from going for over an hour. So clearly he could not beat up grandma, and he didn't need the brass knuckles. He was just so embarrassed that his thought life took him so far from the truth, right? So I give that example to say that whenever there's a conflict in the family, you have to relegate it to what the true issue is. If you talking about, okay, look, we fighting over $2, don't be going back to, you remember that time you beat me in hot scotch? No, that's not relevant. Stay on topic, because you will only broaden the issue and make it worse. I want to be at peace not only with myself, but I want to be at peace with people that I love. But if you can't reciprocate that kind of energy in my life, it's just not going to work out. It's just not, because at this stage, in our 50s, we don't need a lot of drama, and we won't tolerate a lot of drama. I know people who throw their own grandkids out. Come in here with that rah-rah if you want to, disturbing grandma's peace. She ain't trying to hear that. Because this is a new day and a new era in our lives. Things that were acceptable in our 30s and 40s, we just not trying to hear that. That's the first tip, is to stay on topic whenever you have a disagreement. The next thing is you want to think about communication. When you are in a disagreement, it is best to use I statements instead of using you statements, because if I can take the blame for it, if I can express it from my point of view, then it does not impose blame on the other person. When you, then that is shifting the blame to that person, and it causes people to be dismissive of what you're saying. When you start pointing the fingers, you're no longer heard. So communicating in a way that's open and honest, effective. I think that communication, and we all know that communication is key in any relationship, but especially in a family, because when you really think about the importance of a family, I was reading this, and this would have been put some Jesus on it, and I need to find the scripture, Genesis 17:12. In the scripture, and this is how I know that family is not just people that you are born with, because in the scripture, God is telling Abraham to circumcise everybody in his house, even the slaves. And he's saying that I am making covenant with everyone in that house. So even though the people in that house were slaves, they were still family, because God was honoring them in the same way he was his sons, right? So to me, that's a beautiful menagerie of a family. When he speaks of that covenant, that's just the gamut. Genesis 17:12 through 14. For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household or bought with money from a foreigner, those who are not your offspring. Whether born in your household or bought with money, they must be circumcised. My covenant in your flesh is to be an everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. So this covenant extended to everybody that was in the house, which was family. And I think that we get stuck on, just blood, but it's bigger than that. I have the most amazing collection of family members here in New York City that I never even imagined, but I can call on some of them faster than I can call on blood. I mean, I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, but that is in fact the case. Now, another thing, when you are dealing with conflict within a family or any kind of dispute, you have to be sensitive to your own emotional triggers. I'll give an example of that in a family situation where one of my younger family members was experiencing a tantrum. At the time, they were 19 or so. But it was a really ugly scene. It was Christmas. I was expecting us to do the normal family thing that we do, and they just turned into a Tasmanian devil. The yelling and screaming, it triggered me. And I literally got in my car and drove home on Christmas Eve because I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. Just the bad behavior they expressed, and just the response of the parents to just be so removed. I was thinking to myself, it was like watching a train wreck, but you're the only one that can see it. I'm like, does anybody else see this? And the behavior was just so atrocious that in order to protect my peace, I would rather sleep at a rest stop in Maryland and drive the rest of the way to Brooklyn than to expose myself to the foolishness that someone else allows in their home. I can't control what goes on in anybody else's home. I can control how I respond to it, and I can control what I allow to permeate my spirit. I have to protect my peace of mind. So be sensitive to emotional triggers and remove yourself for situations that cause you distress, cause you emotional harm, that cause you any kind of mental stress. Because at the end of the day, I feel like when you respond a certain way, you also teach people how you want to be treated and also tell them where the line is drawn. If I can tell you that, hey, look, I appreciate, that you have children, but I can't be around it. And then they have the option to either say, okay, yeah, or no. But I recognize what it is that in my 50s I'm willing to put up with. And some of it I'm just not going to. And I think that's okay. I also suggest when it comes to communication, I recommend a calm and thoughtful approach. And sometimes that may force you to walk away and to come back when clearer heads prevail. First off, I'm a Libra and I hate confrontation. So I'm never that chick that's going to be like, no, I'm never going to do that because that's not my demeanor. We can talk about it, and if he's on some rah-rah, I will always walk away because I hate to argue. I would rather gnaw off my arm than to argue with you. So what I tend to do is say, I need a minute because I have broken relationships for life because I responded badly in a situation. And I responded so badly I couldn't recover from it. So I recognize as a part of my maturing process that sometimes I have to walk away and reconsider. In the car example, with my ex, I don't have to go to 10 in order to come back because it's an old lady that's approaching me and not some dude that I can beat down, right? I don't have to go to 10 anymore. I need a minute. And then I'll go away and I'll think about it because number one, I don't want to hurt the relationship, family, friend, whatever it is. I no longer want to burn bridges. Oh, I used to carry a torch. Baby, you talking about fire? I set the bridge on fire with you on it. But I don't need to live that way anymore. That was a defense mechanism to protect myself from whatever I thought I was going to experience. At this stage, I'm willing to put myself out there and be open to the experience, even if it causes me a little hurt. I know how to recover. That's, again, a benefit of being older. We know how to recover. Our heart is no longer worn on our sleeve where we can't maneuver and we can't move or think without the next person. We're no longer so codependent. Hopefully not. I have to speak from my experience because I was a barnacle to a ship. Boy, if I love you, ooh, let me tell you, you suck like Chuck. So, yeah, that's another thing. Just a calm, sensitive approach. Next, you want to think about picking your battles. Sometimes it just ain't that serious. Sometimes it's just not that serious. I had a disagreement with my younger sister. At the time, I threw flame on purpose. Like it wasn't accidental flame. I threw flame on purpose. But it was really silly. I just wanted her to recognize that, sometimes stuff is just not worth the heat. She threw me out of her house. She threw me out. My nephew had to come and get me. I was stuck in Greensboro, North Carolina. She sat me outside like that cat on the Flintstones. I think I was down there for her too. I don't even remember, but yeah, she threw me out. I don't think we spoke since then. But anyway, I'm okay with that because this is not someone who brings me warm and fuzzies and joy into my life. Would I rather be speaking to her in the conventional sense? Yes. But do I feel a ways because we are not? No, not really. And I don't mean that in a facetious way because we are family and we need each other. Let me be very clear. All right, we're not speaking, but y'all better not mess with her. You better not mess with her. She's still mine, whether we speaking or not. So let me make that very clear, okay? Now, because, we probably kiss and make up whenever. But I have to say that she's not the person who, calls you with good news or, a word from the Lord. Or like, she's just not that. Always it's some gossip or some drama or something that's happening with somebody that yeah. So I can't say that I'm missing our communication. Do I miss her as a sister? Yes. But do I miss us communicating? Not at all. Because she's still my sister, whether we speaking or not. But y'all better not mess with her. So choose your battles carefully. Everything is not meant to be a 10. And the reality of it is that it only adds stress to your life. I feel good about my decisions because I know my family and I recognize that I am the one in my family who is always pushing Thanksgiving every year. I'm the coordinator of making sure that everyone is in North Carolina and that we're all having this big Thanksgiving that we've done for probably 30 years. Even when my parents were alive, like, it was just tradition that everybody come home for Thanksgiving. And even after they passed away, I made sure that I carried on that tradition and everyone would fall in line. If auntie say come through, everybody will be in position. Turkey's made. Well, now we got vegans. We used to just have a turkey and a ham. Now we got to have salmon. We got to have tofu, all that. But everybody come through. These last few years, I haven't felt like that should be my position anymore. I am cultivating my own family here in New York that may not necessarily be blood, but I am hosting local Thanksgiving and enjoying it just as much with people that I love locally and not having to be the curator of Thanksgiving for my entire family. I ain't got no kids. Why should I be the lead on this? Right? So I have been enjoying these years in a different way and allowing them to navigate their own holiday waters. The next thing is that when we experience these things with family, you have to be able to approach it without experiencing a sense of guilt, unless you are guilty. Now, I have been on the side of arguments, and yeah, it was all me. I can't even, say you. It was just I jumped off, I popped off, popping or the popping, and it was it was all me. If I'm guilty, then yeah, maybe I should experience a little guilt. But don't bear the weight of guilt that's not yours. Don't let the weight of someone else's foolishness or someone else's decisions or someone else's thoughts of you be the guilt that you wear because it's not yours. What I take is what I do deservedly, but not anyone else's. I won't bear that weight because I feel like protecting my peace is a part of self-care. If I'm going to be getting facials and all of this and, like, why wouldn't I take care of my inner man, which is absolutely more important than anything I have going on the outside. For all the cuteness and skin treatments and nails and hair and all that, I skip all that for the sake of my spirit, my peace, right? That's something intangible. That's spirit. That's life to me. If I can do all of these things to take care of the outer shell, all the more when it comes to the inner me, because the inner me is reflected on the outside. I recently caught a video by this man named Joe Dispenza about women who live alone are the most magnetic. And in this video, he talks about when you live alone, you only have your own energy to contend with. When you live with other people, you have to shift and adjust your energy to accommodate that other person in your space. So I feel like because I'm a woman who lives alone and not lonely, again, those are two completely different things. A woman who lives alone, I probably have less tolerance because I'm so accustomed to the peace and the sanctity of my own home. So I don't know what that looks like for people who live with others, but for me, I do agree that because I live alone, I don't have to shift my energy to accommodate other people's. And also in his video, he explains that the electromagnetic charges in our brain when we make decisions click much faster for women who live alone because we make those decisions more regularly alone than people who live with someone, right? Like if you have a partner, those decisions are made usually between two or between people in the household, which causes those decision making charges to click slower than someone who has to do it all the time. When you have to do it all the time, it just becomes second nature. So there are those advantages, but even whether you live alone or not, your peace is paramount. Okay, let the P and P stand for paramount because it's so important and it matters as it relates to how we live and the success of our lives and, just comfort and well-being. So I am coming to the end of things. I do encourage people who may be struggling that there are options. There's therapy, there's mediation. Family, especially the Black family, is the nucleus, right? And I could go on about how when the Black man was taken from the home, that really began the demise of the Black family. So we're still suffering from the residuals of that era in the 60s, 70s, even now with incarceration and some other things of the Black man being removed from the home, which has made the woman have to be the man and shifted the dynamics completely. But I don't want to go too deep in that. I just want you to know that family matters and that when there's a dispute, you can always use any of these resources to try to get things back on track. I'll take my own advice and, maybe I'll call my sister Nah, not yet. I need another minute. She sat me out like the cat on the Flintstones. That's so rude. How you throw your own sister out? I don't even live down there no more. Anyway, forgiveness. Also, lean on trusted friends. Lean on your extended family. Again, the most beautiful thing God gave us was the ability to create our own families. My next door neighbor, I consider him family just as much as I do my brother. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to decide who's going to walk me on down the aisle once I meet this man. Who gonna walk me down the aisle this year? Once I meet him, I ain't even met him yet, but I'm just speaking it into existence. When I meet him, I don't know if it's gonna be this one or my brother. It'll probably be my homeboy. Anyway, lean on trusted friends. Outside perspectives can provide clarity and help navigate difficult family dynamics, especially if they know your family. Because when you talk about it, like when I talk to my girlfriends about my family, they be like, "Girl, I know that was her," because they know. So, use your support system to overcome these things. I want to leave you with key takeaways, which is communication is key. Be clear and empathetic in your communication. Avoid blame and using defensive statements by using the word I instead of you. Pick your battles. Not every conflict needs to be addressed. Choose wisely. Protect your peace at all costs. Boundaries are essential. Walking away can sometimes be an act of self preservation, not abandonment. So don't confuse the two. Don't be afraid to seek help. Again, therapy, mediation, count on your support system, your friends, your extended family. And remember that family is bigger than blood. Family can be born and created. All you need to know is y'all better not mess with mine. We can fuss and fight all we want to on the inside, but let you step in and it's popping. You don't want that. You don't want no smoke with us. Okay, so lastly, I want to put some Jesus on it and leave you all with the good word. And Ephesians 4:32, because this is the crux. Again, I go back to the importance of family. Maybe there's some things I have to, ask for some forgiveness on with my family. So Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Ponder how much God has forgiven you, and it'll cause you to be more forgiving of those who have hurt you. The opposite is also true. Again, that's Ephesians 4:32. I had to put some Jesus on it. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me for another episode of 50ish and Fab. It means everything to me that you all take this time, and I pray that the grace that you show me by listening is multiplied in your own life 100-fold. The God in me honors the God in you. Shalom. Like, share, subscribe.